Have you ever felt like life is overwhelming? Storms of fear, doubt, and struggles crashing against you? Today, let Yes journey into one of the most powerful stories of Jesus, where he shows us that even in life, as fiercest storms, he is always in control. Once upon a time, many years ago, people would travel by boat across the Sea of Galilee. The people of Israel were living under the rule of the Roman Empire and an oppressive king named Herod Antipas. But there was good news spreading among them about a Jewish teacher named Jesus from Nazareth. He taught them about God's love and forgiveness and how they could have eternal life with God through him. People came from far and wide to hear him teach. So one day, Jesus and his 12 closest followers, called disciples, went to a place near the lake. There they taught large groups of people all day long. Now imagine the scene. It's hot, dusty, and everyone is tired. So finally, Jesus tells his disciples, "Let's go to the other side of the lake. We need some rest." The disciples agreed, so they got into a small boat and started rowing across the lake. They had a strong and steady boat, and it was a bright, beautiful day. So they rowed happily toward the other side. As night fell, Jesus asked his disciples, "Don't worry, we'll get to land soon." And for a while, everything was fine. The waves were calm and the boat sailed smoothly across the moonlit lake. But then suddenly, a strong wind began to blow. The sky grew dark, and the waves started to crash over the boat. Suddenly, a huge storm appeared. They were in danger of capsizing. Now, these disciples were fishermen, so they knew the lake well. They had sailed on it many times before. But this storm was scary. Waves kept crashing into the boat, pushing water inside. They struggled hard to keep it upright. As the wind and rain hit their faces, they cried out in fear. "We're going to die," they thought. And where was Jesus during all this? In the back of the boat, he was sleeping peacefully on a cushion. He was calm and relaxed, enjoying a deep sleep. You might wonder, why didn't he wake up? Why was he sleeping during such a big storm? Well, he had complete trust in God the Father. He knew God was in control. He also knew that this storm would pass. So he slept peacefully, knowing everything would be all right. But the disciples were terrified. As the waves tossed them around, they cried out to Jesus, "Teacher, don't you care that we're going to die?" They thought he was asleep, and they hoped he would help them. But he didn't move. Maybe you feel the same way sometimes. When life gets hard, you cry out to God, but he doesn't seem to answer right away. You wonder if he really cares about you and your problems. Or maybe you think he's angry with you, and that's why he isn't helping. But Jesus wants you to know, even when things look scary and hopeless, he is there with you. He cares for you, he has a plan for you, and he wants you to trust him. Finally, Jesus woke up. He opened his eyes and looked at his disciples struggling in the storm. He saw how afraid they were. Then he did something amazing. He stood up, walked to the front of the boat, and said 3 simple but powerful words: "Peace, be still." And in an instant, the storm stopped. The wind died down, the waves calmed, and the rain stopped. It was as if God himself had pressed a button to pause the storm. The disciples were amazed. They looked at each other in surprise. They couldn't believe how quickly the storm had stopped. Then Jesus said, "Why are you so afraid? Do you still have no faith in me?" The disciples answered, "Who is this? What kind of power do you have? You can calm the seas and the winds. You're the Son of God." They realized that Jesus wasn't just a teacher or a prophet. He was the Son of God. He had power over nature. He was Lord of all creation. You might be wondering, why did Jesus calm the storm? Why didn't he let the disciples face the consequences of their fear? Well, Jesus didn't want to punish them for their fear. Instead, he wanted to teach them a lesson about faith. You see, the disciples had put their trust in their boat and their rowing skills, not in him. They forgot that Jesus was with them, and he had the power to protect them. But Jesus didn't get angry at them. He showed them his power and helped them understand that he is always with us, even in the toughest situations. When we face challenges and feel scared, Jesus wants us to remember that he is in control. He has the power to help us, and he loves us too much to let us face our problems alone. That's why he said, "I am with you always, even to the end of time. Don't be afraid, because I am here." The story of Jesus calming the storm teaches us many important lessons that we can apply to our lives today. Firstly, it reminds us that even when life seems calm and peaceful, we should still be prepared for storms. Just like the disciples, we may find ourselves in difficult situations that we don't expect. And it's during these times that our faith in Jesus is put to the test. So when things are going well, we should remember to trust in Jesus and follow his teachings. Secondly, the story teaches us that fear can make us forget Jesus' presence and power. When the storm hit, the disciples became afraid and focused on their problems instead of thinking about Jesus. But we must remember that Jesus is always with us, even in the darkest moments. If we trust in him and have faith in his words, we can find peace in the midst of any storm. Moreover, the story shows that Jesus cares for us and wants to help us. He didn't have to calm the storm, but he did it to protect his disciples. Similarly, Jesus wants to help us in our times of need, but we must call on him and ask for his assistance. Sometimes he may allow us to face challenges so that we can learn and grow, but he is always there to support and guide us. Finally, the story teaches us that Jesus has all the power over nature and our lives. He can calm the fiercest storms and bring peace to our hearts. So when we face problems, we should trust in Jesus' power to help us. By putting our faith in him, we can overcome any obstacle and find peace in the midst of any storm. Dear friends, just as the disciples trusted Jesus to calm the storm, trust him to help you through your problems. Remember that he loves you and wants to be with you always. Now I want to ask you, have you ever experienced a storm in your life? How did you deal with it? And do you believe that Jesus has the power to calm the storms in your life? Share your thoughts in the comments below. As we close this video, I encourage you to like this video if you enjoyed it and want to share it with others. Subscribe so you never miss out on our uplifting stories of faith and hope. May the lessons from the story of Jesus calming the storm bring you comfort and strength in your journey of faith. Thank you for watching, and may God bless you